important particles or topics present in the chemistry. So I'm going with one of the important topic, which is a basic topic. Definitely you need to know about this. After that only you can enter into the topic of chemistry. Okay, children. So if I give you some substances, if I ask you to classify them, then how you are going to classify? So you may classify them based upon one of the topic, that is living things and non-living things. Is it? So on the screen you are able to see. So whatever the pictures you can see on the screen, completely they are classified into two categories. Either they belong to living things or non-living things. About this topic you might have learned in your primary sections. Or else, if I ask you to classify them according to the substances which float and which sink, then again you have easily classified the substances which are floating on the water, and the substances which are sinking, which are under the water. This is also very easy. Then if I ask you to classify the substances according to our high school topic, that is substances which are transparent, translucent and opaque, then it is very easy for you to find the substances which are transparent, translucent and opaque. Is it or not? But whatever the substances present in the universe, if you ask me to classify these substances, all these substances, so according to our subject, we can classify all the substances into different categories. As I showed you, either living things or non-living things, substances which float or which sink, substances which are transparent, which are opaque, or which are translucent, or substances which are made up of same material or different materials. So in this way, you can classify in different categories. But I am going to classify the substances present in the universe into only one category, that is matter. Because whatever the substances, things, anything present in the universe, it can be said under a single term, matter. So in the previous session, I discussed what is meant by matter in the topic matter in our surroundings. Is it or not? So in that, we know that matter is again divided into molecules, and molecules are again divided into atoms. I already told you about the story of Maharshi Kannad, his book Kanasiddhantam, and about Daltons, and these peoples. Regarding the topic regarding these people, we have discussed in the previous session. Today I am going to discuss what is meant by atom and what are the particles present inside the atom. As I told you that Maharshi Kannad told matter is nothing, it is a combination of two other things, Anu and Paramanus. So after a long time of this proposal given by Maharshi Kannad, who is also called as Kashyapa, in the 18th century, some scientist who has taken the words of this Maharshi Kannad, they started researching that. Is this the ultimate thing, that is atom or molecules are the ultimate things, or does the atoms still contain some other things, or else can we divide the atom into some other parts? Is anything present inside the atom? Regarding these questions, they started doing some experiments, but they are unable to find out till 18th century. In the 18th century, after the discovery of a cathode ray tube, we have found what is present inside the atom. So today I am going to say you the story of atom, how atom is divided and what are the parts of particles present inside the atom. Until 18th century, it was said that the definition of atom as the smallest indivisible particle. The definition of atom is given as the smallest indivisible particle. But later, the discovery of the subatomic particles present inside the atom, the definition was changed into the smallest invisible particle. You should remember these two words. Before the discovery of the subatomic particles, that means the particles present inside the atom, the definition of an atom is given as the smallest indivisible particle. But indivisible means you cannot divide. But when atom is divided means atom still consists of some other particles when it is known through observation. They have changed the definition of an atom as the smallest invisible particle. Simply to say that we are unable to see this particle. That particle is called as an atom. So it was given that the atom also consists of some other particles, and this was shown through a device called as CRT. On the screen you are able to see the picture of a CRT, cathode ray tube, picture of a CRT, cathode ray tube. So this cathode ray tube, you are easily, it is visible in your TVs. Okay, so what is in the cathode ray tube? So on the screen I have given you the detailed description about this cathode ray tube. The cathode ray tube, which is abbreviated as a CRT, is a vacuum tube containing an electron gun, which is a source of electrons from where you are going to get the electrons. So I'll be explaining these terms, what is in the electron and all, and a fluorescent screen with internal or external means to accelerate and deflect the electron beam used to create images in the form of light emitted from the fluorescent screen. The image may represent electrical waveforms. There is oscilloscope example, pictures, television, computer monitor, radar targets and other. So from this, if you take out the words from it, so vacuum tube, electron gun, fluorescent screen or fluorescent screen. So vacuum tube means it is fully empty. So nothing is present. Even small particles of gases are also not present inside that. So any space which is a completely empty, nothing is present in that particular area or volume, that is said to be as vacuum. So cathode ray tube is a vacuum tube, so which is consisting of electron guns. So here you can see a vacuum tube, so with electron gun from where you are going to get the electrons, and fluorescent screen. So I will show you what is meant by fluorescent screen. So here you are able to see the television. So olden days TVs. So if you open the back panel of the TV, you can see this CRT tube from where you are going to get the electrons, and these electrons will be striking on the screen. Whatever the screen we have for the television, that is called as fluorescent screen. So each ray is going to create a dot-like structure, that is called as pixels. So whatever we'll be using for mobile phones and all, 10 megapixel, 20 megapixels, those like structures are obtained with the form of this passage of electricity, that is called as electrons. In detail, I am going to explain in this topic. So that is called as a cathode ray tube. It was discovered by Sir William Crookes. On the screen, you are able to see the picture of Sir William Crookes. So he has discovered this cathode ray tube. With this cathode ray tube, J.J. Thomson. On the screen, you are able to see his picture, J.J. Thomson. He has done an experiment, and he discovered the presence of electrons inside the atom. So with this discovery, atom is a definition of an atom is changed as indivisible to invisible, because he has divided the atom. He found that atom also consists of some other particles. Those are called as electrons. So how he discovered this means with the help of discharge tube experiment. By using cathode ray tube, he has prepared an equipment that is called as discharge tube. So I will show you through a video. So in this discharge tube experiment, he has given some properties of these atoms. Some properties of these atoms. What he has done is he found cathode rays. He has found cathode rays. So look at the screen. So what is in the cathode rays? Look at the screen. So on the screen, a diagrammatic representation is given. So that is the equipment of a discharge tube experiment. Here the blue color lines are voltage, supply of voltage. Red color lines are called as electrodes. And that white color line is the glass tube. So with this experiment, he discovered electron through the experiment of a discharge tube. That is a discharge tube experiment. He discovered electron. So what is in the electron means electron is a subatomic particle of an atom, one of the particles present inside that atom. So that is called as an electron. So the electrons was discovered by J.J. Thomson at the end of the 19th century. As I told you, until 18th century, the definition was given as indivisible. After this discovery, it was changed to invisible. So how he has done this experiment, you can see at the video. So that white color line is called as a hard glass tube, which is a vacuum. That means empty. So the glass tube dimensions are about 50 centimeters long. It is about 50 centimeters long, closed at both the ends. So we don't have any openings there. Even the outlet is also closed with a valve. That is called as the discharge tube. For this, he has arranged in this closed tube one vacuum pump where he can remove all the things such as gases or minute particles present inside that discharge tube through this outlet, that is a vacuum pump. So to remove all the particles, he has arranged this one. After removing all the particles, it will be closed with that nozzle present. Two metallic rods, which is in red color, are placed at both the ends of this discharge tube. You can see on the screen two red color rods. So what is meant by electrode means which is able to pass electricity, and blue color lines are the voltages where you are going to supply high voltage, nearly 10,000 volts. So remember, whatever the voltage which we are using for our daily purpose is 230 volts, but here we are going to get to 10,000 volts. Observe the differences, 230 volts to 10,000 volts. So negative terminal is passed to one of the terminal, that is a cathode, and positive terminal is passed to anode. So that positive terminal, wherever you can see the line on the screen, that is called as the anode. So here cathode is the first terminal where you are going to have the negative charge, and anode is the second terminal where you are going to have the positive charge. So for your convenient reference, just remember that electricity will be flowing from negative to positive. Remember this thing. So what he has done to this equipment, he has removed all the gases particles present inside the discharge tube, and he passed low pressure gas through the outlet. And after passing this low pressure gas, he has applied 10,000 voltage. So the pressure of the gas inside the discharge tube is 10 to the power of minus 4 atm. Atm is atmospheric pressure, 10 to the power of minus 4. Low pressurized gas, 10 to the power of minus 4 means 0.0000. Right? Understood or not? So that low pressure gas, to that low pressure gas, he has applied 10,000 volts of current. He has applied 10,000 volts of current. When you are going to pass this 10,000 volts of current, that electricity will be passing from, you can see the arrow marks, from negative terminal of that source to positive terminal. So when it is reaching cathode, the cathode is emitting some rays. You can see the arrow marks moving from cathode to anode. Is it or not? So these are light rays emitted from the cathode terminal. These are light rays emitted from the cathode terminal. So when we observe the properties of these light rays, we can say that these rays consist of some particles. How he has observed means he has done some experiment on these rays. What he has done, you can see video. When these rays are passing from cathode to anode, he made an opening on the anode. Now you see the red color line, it is changed. Some portion of that red color line is changed to black. That means an opening is allowed, and at the other end of the discharge tube, he has made a coating of a zinc sulfate. He made a hole near the anode so that the light rays which are passing from cathode will be passed through that hole, that is anode, and at the end of that discharge tube, so he coated with a zinc sulfate. When these light rays strike that zinc sulfate, then you can see glowing nature. So why he made this thing means he want to know that whether these rays are passing from cathode or not. Yes, when he has done this thing, he observed the glowing nature of the zinc sulfate. So he came to the conclusion that these rays are passing from cathode towards anode, and that's why these are named as cathode rays. Have you understood the word why cathode rays came? So the rays which are emitted from the cathode, that means a negative terminal, so such rays are called as cathode rays. After observing this thing, he has applied near anode a positive charge. You can see on the top of the discharge tube, a positive charges are applied. So whatever the rays which are passing from cathode to anode, they started deflecting towards the plate, electric plate. What is the charge of the electric plate? You can see positive signs. So that we know that so negative charges will attract positive charges. Here the rays are getting deflected towards the positive plates, means the rays consist of negative charge particles. So the rays consist of negative charge particles. After observing this thing, he has kept a substance in the opening of the anode, which is made up of a metal. So when this substance is present in between the opening of the anode, he observed a shadow on the other end of the discharge tube. That means whatever the light rays which are passing, they are passing in a straight line. These rays are passing in a straight line. That's why they have created a shadow perpendicular to it. So he came to the conclusion that cathode rays travels in a straight line. Understood or not? After this observation, he has kept a light paddle wheel. You can see a wheel in the middle of the discharge tube. So this light paddle with very less weight. So that why he used this less weight means that rays, when they are going to pass through this paddle wheel, the paddle wheel started rotating. The paddle wheel started rotating. So when this wheel started rotating, he observed that particle nature is present in these rays. These are the observations what he has done. The cathode rays consist of some particles, material particles. So that these objects or particles, when they are striking this paddle wheel, immediately the paddle wheel started rotating. So these are the observations which he has found. So what are those observations? First one is cathode rays travels from cathode to anode. So that's why they are called as cathode rays. Cathode rays consist of material particles. So how you are going to say that material particles? Due to which the paddle wheel has rotated. Whenever these particles are present, it made that wheel to rotate. And third one, cathode rays travels in a straight line. How he observed this one means he has observed a shadow straight behind the object. And fourth observation is cathode rays are negative charge. How he observed this one means with the deflection of these rays towards the positive terminal. So these are the four observations of the cathode rays. Observing all these four things, he came to notice that light rays are material particles, and these material particles consist of some matter present inside that, and that matter consists of negative charged particles, and that particles were named as electrons. So in this way, we got the discovery of electron by J.J. Thomson. Until 19th century, they believed that atom is the ultimate particle, but after the discovery of this discharge tube experiment, so some other substances are present inside the atoms, and those are called as electrons due to its negative nature. That is negative charge. So observing these four properties of the light rays, that is light rays travels in a straight line, light rays consist of material particles, light rays creates a shadow, light rays is going to rotate the paddle wheel, and light rays are deflecting towards the positive charges. So observing these things, there is a cathode rays, electrons are getting discovered. So today we have seen cathode rays, which you have in your syllabus. In the next session we will discuss about anode rays. So hope you have understood. Hope you have understood this one. So go through this video once again. See you in the next class. Thank you.